A museum to me it's a place where you go to, I don't know, get knowledge sounds dumb, but that's the truth, really.
Museum essentially a place where we house historical objects or important things to society and provide it for the public to be able to view it. So most of these things are usually not as easily accessible.
You know, you see labels, you know somebody has preserved, collected, and curated the items that you're looking at, but you don't really see those people.
To me, a museum is an institution that houses objects of public interest and spreads knowledge about them. I wanted to do museum work from the very beginning. I just wanted to be in a museum. So that's why I applied for different departments and things, just to kind of test the waters around what I really wanted to do in a museum. But I definitely knew that museum work is what I wanted for my career. So when I come to work, I kind of feel like I'm going to the beach. This is one of my favorite objects here in the library collection. It's about the Collins Bridge, which is the first bridge connecting Miami and Miami Beach. So you have all the people that came to watch, and then you can see the line of cars. So they actually drove to the end and had to turn around because there was nothing built on the other side. We have Mr. Collins here in front of his bridge. So yeah, our library is huge. We use the items that we have in our collections to kind of tell stories from the past, but I think we also tell our stories in a very contemporary way. So I find that very interesting and very different, especially in Miami Beach.
Some of my favorite pieces are actually made by Picasso, and this is one of his pieces here. Well, I've always wanted to be a curator. I love museums. I like to say they're my first love. I'm currently the registrar intern. The internship is 3 months long. You work with a professional, meaning your supervisor, that teaches you the ropes of essentially what the department is. What the registrar department does is take care of the artifacts of the museum, jewelry, silverware, statues, paintings. Before, I didn't have any museum experience, but now I leave with a good sense of knowledge of knowing what is good to be in the public and what is not. Also, by working in the registrar internship department, I'm realizing just how interwoven it is completely with the museum, how every department matters and affects one another. For example, we have the registrar department, which deals with the artifacts.
This one is cool.
There's also, curatorial, which is deciding what goes in the show. Curatorial works with exhibitions, that's me.
Who kind of make all the magic happen and put everything together. Our incredible collections team as well, which is a lot of work.
Conservation, which is in charge of the conservation and protection, really, of the numerous objects in our collection.
The library department, the art department,
Education,
interpretation,
marketing,
the development people, social media, obviously our cleaning staff, security staff, maintenance, not sure if I'm missing anybody.
Every department is cohesive with one another. If you work in the graphics departments, you work as curatorial. If you work in curatorial, you're also talking to registrars. If you talk to registrars, you talk to marketing. And by that, it creates a perfect sort of dynamic, which results in a museum. Either behind the scenes as a registrar or in front of the scenes as a curator, each part of it is important to one another because they work together to make a seamless experience for visitors.
My favorite object, I think it was this one that I did research on pretty recently. It was this little salt and pepper shaker. They were made for Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee. For a salt and pepper shaker, I just think it looks so beautiful.
What was this artist thinking? What was their thought process behind the work? How did they get here? How does it make other people feel? I would say I'm definitely a big museum geek. I love just little trinkets and learning more about things. So if I find something that's interesting, I'll go on a rabbit hole just to find out where it came from, who made it, what it is, and why it exists.
They've trusted me to do the work on my own, and that feels good.
So working at the Wolfsonian, I would say working with the curatorial team as well, one of the biggest takeaways has been that sometimes you can put on a show with objects, books, and we could see something from a painting like you would expect in a museum to a keychain or a spoon, and being able to tell that story.
And I know when it's an internship, it's a job, you have to do it. But it's not just that. It's like, it makes me feel motivated to do my work. I feel motivated when I'm doing my work here. The tools and tips that I've been able to garner, I believe that I'm going to carry for a long time. With the things that I want to do in the future, I feel like I'm always going to like come back to the things that I learned here as like this first stepping stone, this kind of ground base.
Many times I'm researching an object and I become really passionate about it, and then I'll talk to the curators and they're like, well, let's go check it out. That's when, the real fun kicks in for me.
From all these people that I've worked with, I've learned a lot about myself, which I feel like is it's surprising to admit, really, because I was mostly here because I thought the internship, it sounded cool, but like coming out of it, I think I've learned a lot, and I'm really thankful for my time here at the Wolfsonian.
History is taught about in textbooks and read about and thought about in kind of theoretical concepts, but through this collection we can interact with objects that are more than 150 years old. This is one that stood out to me. This is a Toby jug. Toby jugs are a style of pottery that became common and popular in England, and you can't help but wonder, who is that? Why were they represented in a mug? I can show you the back too. It's like his sailor's cap kind of molds into the handle.
I'm really passionate about education and the power of education. My name's Quinn. Like I said, I'm a senior year history student. I graduate in 2 weeks. So thanks, guys. And that's what I learned from the Wolfsonian. How much I love to learn, how much I love to take on different challenges. And really I'm looking forward to whatever that next chapter is, whatever that next challenge is, whether that's in a museum or whether that's... Anybody has any idea? Probably the first time I was here, I just walked right by it. I didn't think much of it. I was like, those are some interesting lines. But once I learned the story, I found it incredibly interesting. What do we think these lines are? The Wolfsonian, to me, is these lines are cliffs, specifically cliffs of Brittany. There's little sheep at the base. I'm passionate about social and cultural history of the modern era. And if we move from Western Europe to Eastern Europe, we're gonna look at these plates. And that's what this collection really reflects, and that's why I kind of fell in love with working here and being around the collection. It's design and art and history of the modern era. I did this tour for some high schoolers and they didn't think it was so romantic. I think that's down to a difference in like our perspectives, right? We don't see smokestacks as beautiful, but when you look at it, it's dawn, so it's hopeful, And I wonder what it must have been like, where everything is uncertain, where everything is new.
I really like the contrast, looking over the destruction, but also maybe like looking past to the new city.
So the flamingos, a lady in the jungle interacting with the monkey, they're connecting eye to eye. So yeah.
It is an interesting contrast to see the way serenity and almost apocalyptic feelings can be mixed into one painting.
Because I thought from afar that it was like a quilt. But when I looked closer, I realized it was actually paint on canvas, which was very interesting to me. By using these lines, they're able to kind of come together and form one harmonious landscape, which I thought was very smart.